Hi, my name is Austin Riley.
And I'm Morgan Green, and you are listening to CJSW 90.9 FM as a Airwaves.
This program is dedicated
to the education and exploration of disabled life,
giving voice to the life and experience of people with disabilities.
We cover a wide array of issues and disabilities.
We are people who discuss issues we are passionate about
and topics we are interested in.
We show how disability is in the mind of the beholder.
Today, we are talking to Emma Brown, the founder and CEO of Whimble.
Emma is an entrepreneur who turned over 3 decades of caregiving experience into a mission-driven tech company that transforms how care is delivered. Her journey combines lived experience, innovation, and leadership, offering a powerful perspective of accessibility.
Whimble is a CareTech platform designed to fill gaps in personal care service.
Whimble connects individuals to personal care attendants on demand, offering timely, flexible support for urgent or short-term needs.
Welcome to the show, Emma. And
what was the inspiration behind the creation of Whimble? How long has the company been around?
Yeah, thanks for the great question, Austin. So my someone in my immediate family has a physical disability. So he relies on personal care assistance to help him with activities of daily living. So he needs help going to the washroom, taking a shower, getting dressed, all kind of, typical daily tasks. So he has a personal care attendant who comes to his home every day to assist him. But as we all know, sometimes care can be a bit precarious or a bit stressful. Like if a caregiver cancels last minute or isn't available, or they're sick or on vacation, it can sometimes be hard to find a backup person to fill that gap. So the goal with Whimble is really to offer an on-demand platform to connect people in need of care with people able to provide care, to fill last minute or urgent shifts, or fill short to medium term gaps like someone going away on vacation, or to offer occasional respite or whatever that need might look like. We're basically trying to connect all of the people in need of something with the people who can provide that support. And sorry, I forgot the second part of your question, but in terms of how long we've been around, I started working on this 5 years ago, actually, in 2021. And it took us a couple years to figure out the logistics of how to build the platform and how to find people to provide care, how to find people in need of care. So we've been operating since 2020. I forgot to mention, we also provide on-site attendance services at events. So for big music festivals or tournaments like the World Juniors, we're hoping to partner with FIFA for the upcoming World Cup games in Canada. So we encourage event organizers to hire us to ensure that there's on-site attendance to assist with care needs during large gatherings. And again, that can be anything from a music festival to a hockey tournament to a conference. We've done a lot of like nonprofit fundraisers. So really anywhere where people might need assistance going pee or getting help with the buffet line or eating or getting their coat on or off. Our on-site attendance will help close that gap for individuals participating in the event as well.
Wow. Can you tell us about yourself and how it leads to where you are today?
Great question, Morgan. So I have, other than my personal lived experience through my family members, I have zero relevant experience for what we're doing with Whimble. I have a chemical engineering background, and I was working for some science and engineering related nonprofits before starting Whimble. But I was taking a course actually at Carleton University here in Ottawa, and it was a course on social entrepreneurship. And the whole purpose of the entire semester was to build a business plan for a social enterprise. And I started thinking about this idea a long time ago because I'm typically the backup person for my brother. So I've often thought, why isn't there an app to help him find workers? So during that course at Carleton, it really helped me flesh out what a potential business plan could look like. And then by that point, I was really invested in the idea and decided to pursue it full time. So I don't have a healthcare background. I don't have a software or app development background, but we're figuring it out as we go.
Wow. Do you know I do whisper too? Correct of the local?
Yeah, that's something we assist with. Unfortunately, we're not live in Calgary yet, but we do stuff exactly like that where our definition, like the services we provide are basically how someone identifies as needing care. So yeah, it can be respite, like someone coming to your house, maybe doing an activity, going to a concert or the mall or something, is definitely possible. We also help with more personal care needs. So if someone does need like physical assistance with activities of daily living, so again, that's like toileting, bathing, getting dressed, eating. We do assist some people with like housekeeping or doing chores. So if someone needs like a buddy to help them learn how to do chores or learn how to take the bus to a new job or to a new school. Yeah, it's really basically how it works is the client it's up to the client to identify what they need, and then we do our best to find someone. So in your case, Morgan, if you were like, I don't know, if you were like, I want someone to come to my house and we're going to go to the mall because I need new shoes. We basically, and then you would say what day and time you prefer someone to do this task with you. So it's all in your control. And then we would reach out to our pool of workers and say, Morgan is looking for someone to go to the mall on Saturday at 1 p.m. to help her buy new shoes. And then we would connect you with the worker.
What kind of service do you provide?
Yeah, I can quickly recap that. So so for an individual, say, who has a physical disability, we can assist with personal care. So typical activities of daily living like bathing, toileting, etc. For someone who might need assistance, like figuring out a task or doing a chore, or any sort of like companionship, going to an activity together, and like hanging out to pursue hobbies or interests, we can definitely assist with that as well. And then I forgot to mention earlier, so I'm glad you asked this again, but we also support seniors who are trying to age in their home. So if there's someone who is aging and can't manage their home on their own, or a little bit of extra help sometimes, we can also help them with kind of day-to-day activities as well.
I have my family friend do that too as well, but for my grandpa.
What are the qualifications for Whimble employees?
Our pool of caregivers or a pool of support workers, they have to have previous experience supporting individuals with disabilities with personal care needs. They typically, I think you call it something different in Alberta. I should know this off the top of my head. In Ontario, we call it a personal support worker or a PSW. I think in Alberta, do you call them home healthcare aides or HCAs? Um, but yeah, it's basically the same thing, certification from college to provide this type of support. They don't always. We do have some great workers who have just been in the field their whole careers and have worked privately with clients, and they're also amazing. But they do, across the board, have to have up-to-date first aid, CPR, criminal, or have to pass two live interviews with our team, and then a bunch of other stuff around like vaccination records and tuberculosis testing and all that basic healthcare stuff. And then part of what we do to make sure that our pool of workers is a good fit for our clients is we ask for feedback after every shift. So if you were to book a worker to assist you with something, we would reach out afterwards to ask how it went. And then we're able to get really clear and quick feedback on whether someone's just not a good fit. Vetting for a bunch of qualifications before they can join the platform. And then we're very thorough about asking for feedback afterwards to make sure that they're a good fit to stay on. Does that answer your question, Austin?
Can you explain how someone would become a client?
How to become a client of Whimble? Yeah, so we have a website. It's www.whimble, and that's WHIMBLE.ca. So anyone can go to our website and click join us now. The trick right now is we're only live in Ottawa and Toronto, so within Ontario. However, we do have a waiting list. Trying our service in the future to register on our waiting list, because we basically look at how many people we have in future cities and to try to decide where we're going to expand to next. So yeah, check us out. The intake process for clients is a form that needs to be completed about kind of your needs, your preferences, what you're interested in, what types of tasks you would need assistance with. It's kind of like a get to know you form. And then once we receive that, we book an in-person visit to meet you in person, make sure we understand your needs, answer any questions you have about using Whimble. And then you have access to the platform and can place requests at any time. And it's pay as you go. So you just pay for the hours that you use. That may change in the future. We're trying to figure out how to become a sustainable business, but for now, it's just if you use 1 hour, you pay for 1 hour. If you use 5 hours, you pay for 5 hours. And there are, not sure the exact funding schemes in Alberta, but there are schemes in Ontario where you can get reimbursed for our services, so you don't have to pay out of pocket. And then one thing I forgot to mention, or I should mention, considering your audience might be more Alberta based, is that we do also support with travel. So our clients can book us if they're going on like a family vacation and want a support worker to travel with them, or if they're going last minute for some more sad occasions like a funeral, or happy occasions like a wedding or a party. Clients will book our attendants to travel with them to assist with the trip, provide care at the destination, and then help them get home safely. And that's something that we can do within Canada and the US. So there's a little bit more flexibility if you're not directly based in Ottawa and Toronto and you need travel support. That's also something we can help with in the meantime until we expand further west.
Cool.
How does Whimble differ from other personal care services?
So we see ourselves as complementing the existing care services, like those, if you think of those Cs where they're operating on a fixed schedule, it's for like very specific tasks on a regular basis. So say somebody's setting up care like every morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to assist with their morning routine, or every evening from 8 to 10 p.m. to assist with their bedtime routine, or whatever that looks like. That's kind of a more traditional care service. And then we see ourselves as like the flexible gap filler around that. So a situation could be one of those regularly scheduled workers cancels or isn't available or doesn't show up, which happens more often than we would like to hear about. Or it could be just needing a bit more flexibility. Like we've had some people put in requests because they're going to a concert and their agency normally comes to help them go to bed at 10 p.m. But they're like, actually, I'm going to a concert with my friends and I don't want to go to bed until midnight. So they'll put in a request, just a one-off request, so they can go to bed a little bit later. It can be for someone who has like more personal care needs around like toileting. If somebody has an accident and needs help getting changed and taking a shower suddenly in the middle of the day, they can put in a request. So yeah, we're different from like traditional personal care services in that we don't operate on like a rigid fixed schedule. It's very much up to the client to tell us when and where they need us and for what type of assistance.
Wow.
Can you tell us about your experience as a female tech founder?
It's been mostly positive being a female tech founder. I think the biggest challenge with Whimble is, and you guys may be able to relate to this, but people often perceive anything disability related as like a nice little charity project or like a nice little social project. And I think people really underestimate how many people there are who have care needs that are not being fully met. So I think I feel like Whimble's typically underestimated, both because I'm a female founder, and people tend to associate successful tech companies with men, unfortunately. And then we're also underestimated because people don't, unless they have lived experience or they have someone in their family who needs a little bit of extra support, people really underestimate how many people there are around the world who could use this type of service. So I'm trying really hard to prove everybody wrong on all fronts.
Yes. You girl.
Thanks, Morgan.
Welcome.
What challenges have you faced? How did you overcome them?
The really classic challenge that we've had to deal with is when you're building a two-sided marketplace of an app like Uber or Airbnb or Lyft or DoorDash or any kind of app where there's like a supply side of like workers and there's a demand side of people requesting a service. TaskRabbit is another one I can think of. You're in kind of a constant chicken or the egg dilemma of like, how do I build my supply pool before I have clients? Or how do I get clients before I have workers? So you're always trying to manage supply and demand, which can be really challenging. And it actually took us, I think, a full year to actually crack that first request of like, getting demand coming in and figuring out the supply side. It was like, I think we tried launching in September 2022, failed miserably, didn't go anywhere. And then we tried again in spring of 2023, and we got our first like spontaneous request for assistance in June of 2023. So it did take a while to figure out how to get supply or demand without having the other. So that was a big challenge. But eventually we kind of, we sort of like rigged the system a little bit. So I ended up hiring full-time workers to have a baseline level of supply and then using them to kickstart the ability for clients to onboard and start placing requests. And then we were able to grow supply more organically and now have a pool of about 50 workers between Ottawa and Toronto who are able to provide these services. So yeah, it's been so many learning experiences along the way.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for others starting their own business?
You really need to be prepared for how long it will take for your business to get going. I went into this thinking if I had kind of, if I build it, they will come mentality of like, okay, if I set up this platform and there's a service out there and I know people need it, they will just come to my platform and start using it. And I really underestimated how to like build up some marketing tools and connect with more people in the community and even build trust. Like, especially with what we're doing with Whimble, trust is such a big factor because we're very often sending strangers into quite vulnerable situations. Like if somebody's at home in bed in the morning and the stranger's coming in to help them with their morning routine, obviously that can be a very vulnerable situation for the client to be in. So it did take a lot more time than I anticipated to build that trust with the community and to figure out the logistics of how to do this. So we're in year 5 right now. We're nowhere near being profitable or even sustainable as a business. So we still have a lot of work to do to figure out how to maintain Whimble in the long run. So I think just being prepared when you go down this route of being an entrepreneur, that it can take a lot longer than you're anticipating. And I think another tip is just kind of start, and it can be starting with something really small. Like, for example, sell a new clothing line, like make a small batch to test out if there's demand before you go like all in on ordering a bunch of inventory. Or if you're testing out a new service-based business, like offer that service yourself and see if there's demand before you start scaling it up. So I think starting small and kind of testing out if people will pay for what you're offering can help to start with. And then also just be really patient. The last thing I should mention is that if you are thinking of starting a business, most major cities in Canada have really great startup support services. So I don't know the one in Calgary, but I know in Ottawa, we have Invest Ottawa. In Toronto, there's actually a disability tech centered accelerator program called Access to Success, which supports companies who are building like adaptive or accessibility related technologies. So there are a lot of supports out there, so you don't have to figure this out alone. There are people who really want to help. So finding them to ask for help is always, it always takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders, knowing that there's other people who can help you figure stuff out.
That's really cool.
What reaction do you get from the community about Whimble? Do you have any positive feedback stories you'd like to share with us from clients or employees?
I can share a story from someone who's from Calgary. So we got hired by Hockey Canada to provide on-site care attendants at all of the World Juniors games here in Ottawa. And I remember during the game, there was a young guy, like maybe in his late teens or early 20s, who was at all of the games with his dad. And throughout the tournament, we kind of got to know him a little bit. And he mentioned that they had traveled all the way from Calgary to Ottawa. And I think he used our service several times throughout the tournament because they were at most games. And at the end, I remember he posted on social media, and it was so great to see that he really appreciated Whimble's service because it meant him and his dad could focus more on like enjoying the game rather than stressing about his personal care needs because there was someone else there who could help with care. So it was really nice to hear that we kind of helped them improve their experience because they'd obviously traveled very far to be able to enjoy the tournament. Generally, the feedback from the community is quite positive. We're trying to do it from a very disability-centered, human-centered, dignified way. So we're kind of unique in that respect. There's going to be issues, but every time something comes up, like whether it's not a great fit between a client or an attendant, or we have attendants who have had constructive criticism to share, we can always use it as a learning experience on how to improve the platform moving forward.
Cool. How does her work benefit those with or without disabilities?
our kind of long-term vision for Whimble is that as we continue building the platform and expanding, like we really want to play a critical role in building just a stronger society overall, like a more inclusive, more supported, like better society where people are able to live life on their own terms and not have their lives dictated by rigid care schedules or rigid routines. So if you want to stay out late with your friends, great, we can support you. If you want to sleep in one day and you don't want to get up at 6 a.m. when your agency normally comes to help you in the mornings because you were out late at a wedding the night before, great, we can help you. If you want to travel, if you're looking for a new job and need support settling in, like we just want there to be a stronger safety net around individuals. And that obviously directly impacts the individuals with the care needs themselves. But we think it'll also, and from my own experience, also sort of support like family caregivers. So as a sibling of a person with a disability, I also have an uncle with a developmental disability. I have grandparents who are aging. It can be quite stressful to be the support system for people with care needs because you feel guilty if you can't assist with something. You're always kind of stressed that they're not getting their needs met. So I'm hoping that we can also sort of alleviate that pressure on family members or friends or other support people in everyone's network to make sure that if someone can't support a need or can't be there to fill a gap, there is an option, and it's not like the need will go unmet. So yeah, we're basically just trying to strengthen care overall and do it in a way that's very like human centered, where people have a lot of like control and agency and choice over what they need support with and when and where. We have a little bit of work to do to get there, but that's our goal.
What are your plans for Whimble in 2026? Are there any plans for expansion outside of Ontario?
That yes, our goal is to expand Whimble globally in the future. We're probably looking at a West Coast or more Western city by the end of 2026. We just launched in Toronto last year, and then we'll target a third city this year. So it could be Calgary or Vancouver, Edmonton. So people need to get on the waiting list to let us know where they want us to go. Yeah. Definitely trying to expand across the country and then internationally in the future. And also we have a lot of work to do around strengthening the technology of our platform. We're operating off of going back to my advice earlier about like launch something small and test it. We're operating off like a very basic platform right now that's not overly pleasant for anyone to use. It's very simple and doesn't accommodate a lot of specific like changes or anything like that. So our customer support team often has to be very manual and hands-on. So we have a lot of work to do this year around strengthening our tech so that the platform itself can better support people, so that we can scale up faster and help more people without having to grow our customer support team at the same time to that level. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, but definitely looking at expanding and building stronger technology this year.
Where can our listeners find you?
Our website again is www.whimble.ca. And I would love it if everybody can follow us on Instagram, Whimble_care on Instagram. And we're also on LinkedIn at Whimble Care. And please do get on our waiting list if you're interested in using our services so we know where to go next.
Is there anything else you'd like to add today?
Like, we can't do this without feedback from the community, whether that's from prospective clients or caregivers or families who are navigating kind of the broken care system. So I'm always open to feedback and suggestions on how we can grow Whimble. And yeah, I would love it for any of you guys, your listeners, to reach out and stay in touch with us as we figure this out. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You too. You have been listening to Accessible Airwaves on CGSW 90.9 FM.